we are at Sony's booth. Oh, man. This is like, basically, if I were to die and sort of, if there is a heaven, it's probably populated with Sony cameras. All right, so what do we got? Oh, hey, how's it going? I'm Brian Stillman. I'm with BeTerrific. I'm a longtime Sony user, so we decided we were going to check out and see what kind of gear you have at the booth today. So I shoot on an FS7. I use it for a lot of doc work, Netflix work. You just released the FS9. My first question is, did you do that to torture me?
Yes, that's specifically the reason. Yeah, so it's actually FX9.
Oh, the FX9.
Yeah. Difference being the FS cameras use a Super 35 size sensor. The FX9 uses a full frame sensor.
What are the other differences between the FS and the FX?
I mean, that's the major difference is that the FX9 is a full frame sensor capable of 6K, whereas the other ones are APS-C for 4K.
Okay. And do you have one of those here today?
Yeah. The three new cameras that we're showing here are the A7R4, the A9, so from the Alpha side, and then the FX9, which is right over there.
Can we get a look at it? Cool. So, 6K, full size sensor.
Yes, full frame sensor. Yeah. Yep.
And this just came out.
Yeah, it hasn't even shipped. It's not going to be shipping till January, but we just announced it.
What kind of retail do you have on that?
That's a good question. I actually don't know the final retail price yet.
It's probably not free though, so don't get too excited.
I can tell you with 100% assurance that it's not free.
So what are some of the other features that this has besides the full frame sensor, besides the 6K? Any other difference? Is it a Sony mount?
So everything mount-wise, all that's the same accessory-wise. It's basically built up. That's why they even look very, very similar with the difference of color. But yeah, Sony E-mount, but obviously can be adapted to many other mounts, which is one of the best things about the system is that it can run Canon lenses, even PL mount lenses with adapters. There's all like infinite levels of expandability. But it has built-in neutral density filters, all that, like everything that people loved about the previous ones, this just built on with the bigger sensor.
Very cool, very cool. Definitely something I would love to upgrade to. I love my FS7, use it all the time, but full frame, certainly something fun to play with. This has the variable ND filters like the Mark II on the...
Built in, yes.
Very cool. So mine's the first generation, the FS7, doesn't have the variable ND, which the FS5 has. It's a nice little feature, lets you sort of ride the light without having to mess around with your aperture, so you're not losing the depth of field. So that's always a lot of fun. And then tell me about the A series.
So the Alpha cameras obviously have been making a big splash in this industry by offering a really less expensive, smaller, lighter, and in some ways they can do things that's traditional cinema camera can't, with the exception of the FX9. These give you full frame sensors in a really small, light package. So the two newest Alpha cameras would be the A7R4, which is a super high resolution still camera that also doubles as an incredible video camera, capable of 4K, up to 30p. At 1080, it can do up to 120 frames per second, but it's a 61 megapixel still camera, so it makes for incredible studio use. Like, it's really great for both. And it now offers one of our #1 most popular features is like the eye tracking capability on still. That's now the first camera that we offer that does the eye tracking in video as well.
It's still really good in low light. That's one of the things I really liked about the A7S. Super good in low light.
Yeah, the A7S was kind of singularly unique. It was built off a 12 megapixel camera sensor, so it was like exceptionally good in low light. Whereas anything higher would, but now the technology's gotten so much better since the S that we've kind of fixed some of the noise, that would come with larger megapixel sensors. But that's why, like, the A7 Mark III is one of the best hybrid cameras we make because it's built off the 24 megapixel chassis, but it has very similar noise characteristics to the S2, but now with the better autofocus and everything that's come with the newer generation, the bigger battery. And then now we have the A9 II, which is primarily designed as a still camera, 20 frames per second, like unbelievable focus tracking. It does still shoot 4K video, which is phenomenal, but it doesn't do picture profiles. So that's really its one limitation as far as it being a full hybrid camera, whereas the R4, the A7 III, A7S2 can do stills and video like equally well.
They can shoot an S-Log and S-Log 3. This one can't?
Correct. The A9, because of the stacked sensor technology, that's the one thing it can't do.
Now, I'm going to admit, one of the things that I've done on a lot of shoots, we'll go out with like an FS7 or a F5.5, and our B cam will actually be one of the A series. But one of the problems we have is at half an hour, it only gets about 30 minutes of shooting, then we have to stop it. Is that still something we're going to run into with these cameras?
So it depends on the camera, actually. So that issue has been this taxation thing. There's always been kind of a misconception about that. But yeah, like cameras had to stop at 29.9 minutes. So we are actually, for the A6600 is the first camera that we've actually taken care of that on. So that camera can record long. So there are going to be some cameras coming out. And honestly, I haven't read the specs for that yet on these, because that's not a spec that you see on a sheet, like has to stop at 30 minutes. So I will double check on that, but there is a chance that the R4 doesn't. I'm not sure yet, though.
Yeah, I do a lot of documentary work. Our interviews tend to run a lot longer than half an hour. So that's one of the things that's sort of been a sticking point. But otherwise, love the footage, love the portability of it.
And with any camera, if you connect it to something like an Atomos, then you don't have that limitation. So that's an easy fix in that situation, documentary, to hook it up to an external recorder, and then you could record until...
These have HDMI out?
Yes. They have HDMI out for the video. They now have dual USB ports. So they have micro USB and USB-C. So you can charge and tether and do a couple things and connect remotes all at the same time.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much, man. It's good talking to you.
You too. Thanks.
Loving the cameras. All right, let's go out there and see what else we got. FX9. So I was saying FS9. It's the FX9. I want to make sure I clarify that. Still a camera I can't afford. Still a camera I really want to own.